So I want to talk briefly about this cool artistic principle. It's called expectation, surprise, and inevitability. Expectation, surprise, and inevitability. Pretty fancy term. It's a literary term, but it can be applied certainly to songwriting and specifically to storytelling in your songwriting, dramatic, narrative writing, really, in songwriting, a narrative element. Expectation, surprise, and inevitability. It's one of the hallmarks of great narrative writing, great storytelling. You set up an expectation by repetition, right? You set up an expectation, and then you surprise the listener. They didn't quite expect that, but then the result was inevitable. Like, of course, that makes perfect sense. You know, the butler did it. Oh, of course, I knew that. So expectation, set up an expectation. Surprise them with something they didn't quite expect, a little bit of sleight of hand. And then inevitability is something that the reaction is, well, of course, that's inevitable. That is the right choice. That is, in fact, the only choice that seems logical. Expectation, surprise, and inevitability. I love that. So in this case, we're going to be talking about an expectation of what as far as songwriting? Well, I'm just going to break down this song from the idea of the rhyme, setting up an expectation of rhyme, and then surprising the listener, and then hoping that it's inevitable, and I think it is. The example is from a song called Lonely Stuff that I just love. And this is an older song that I wrote with Richard Davis, and Richard brought in this idea. I think he was talking about a movie that he had seen, saying, man, it's just, boy, this lady dancing by herself in this bar, boy, man, it's just lonely stuff, man. I thought, boy, that's a great song title, Lonely Stuff. And my first inclination is not what is this about. My students will tell you this. It's not what is this title about. It's what rhymes with stuff. Because that title, with that really definite rhyme at the end of that title, last word in that title, stuff, is screaming to be written. Either perfect rhyme or near rhyme. Stuff, Some titles aren't going to rhyme. But that was just screaming to rhyme. So I always think, well, since I'm probably going to have to rhyme that title, what rhymes with stuff? And then usually the rhyme will give me the line. Okay, that's one of the great secrets of all this. The rhyme will give you the line. So, of course, you're having to think through the filter, through the prism of that title. And so Lonely Stuff, you hold that title in your head, Lonely Stuff. Cup. Up. Rough. Man, she's had it rough, and that's lonely stuff. Rough. That's rough. That's lonely stuff. Enough. In fact, when we came up with the very obvious rhyme, enough, I remember writing that in the margin of my legal pad, and I knew that was going to be, once that word gave me the line, guess she'd had enough of that lonely stuff. I knew that was going to be at the very bottom of the page. I knew that couplet, guess she'd had enough, or something like that. Guess she'd had enough of that lonely stuff. I put that at the very bottom of the page. And all I had to do then was, the whole story started forming. Guys in a bar, seeing a bunch of lonely stuff. And then we get to the end of the song, and there's a reason why he's in there and a reason why she's at home alone. Or she's not home anymore, actually. So, expectation, surprise. And so I'm going to set up an expectation with the rhyme with stuff, lonely stuff, and then the surprise will be the different takes on that rhyme, and then hopefully there'll be an inevitable choice there. So I'm just going to do half of this song, and I'm going to do the rest of the song tomorrow on a video and talk about some other things. But this thing started out with, see how I had kind of a cool guitar thing. Glass of whiskey and a barroom stool. Somebody singing about being somebody's fool, and they're giving up. And that's lonely stuff. And there's a woman dancing by herself. She may be smiling, but You can tell she's had it rough. What? And that's lonely stuff. Bartender, the glass is empty. Let's have another round. I need one more before I'm ready to face the truth I found. Nah, I'm gonna stop right there because I don't want to give the end away yet. But you see how I set up that expectation of the rhyme. The first one, I guess she'd had it rough. You know, there's a woman dance. I see a glass of whiskey and a barroom stool. Somebody's singing about being somebody's fool, and they're giving up. And that's lonely stuff. Okay, set up an expectation so when the next time it comes around and there's a woman dancing by herself, she may be smiling, but you can tell she's had it rough. Perfect rhyme. And the listener's already filling that in, and that's lonely stuff. So that's the surprise, and that's the inevitability. Oh, of course that's where it went. They say listening to a country song, you should be able to sing along with it the first time you hear it, and that's why you're basically teaching the listener how to listen to the song. And what it does, it provides an opportunity for the listener to become involved in the song, complete some of the song themselves using their imagination. So now what? It's their song. It's not yours anymore. It's their song. So they're actually participating in the creative process, which is the goal. That's the key, to get them actually participating in the work of art. That's what you want. There's that unity that happens there. So expectation, surprise, and inevitability. Fancy 3 words for writing a country song. But I'm going to finish the rest of the song tomorrow in the next video and talk about how we solved some of the other rhymes and how we got to the end and really paid it off. But isn't that an interesting concept? I talk a lot about this at my subscription series, The Fine Art of Songwriting, that you can subscribe to now. Just click on the link if you'd like. We talk about this and lots of other things in masterclass and guitar method and theory for songwriters and song breakdown, lots of things. So I'd love to have you as part of that if you can. And if not, keep this little principle in mind too when you're writing. And what's the title? What rhymes with the last vowel in the title? Stuff. And the last sound in the title, perhaps. And think of rhymes through the filter of that title, and the rhyme will give you the line. Then the story will start to unfold with these couplets, right? With this, guess she'd had pour me another cup of that lonely stuff. You start putting those couplets together on the page, and the story starts to develop. And again, I talk a lot about this at the masterclass at the Fine Art of Songwriting, that you can click on the link and become part of that school if you'd like, and we'd love to have you. So until tomorrow.